Card King, here I come. Hello, sports fans, sports collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome to the program the last living player of the Brooklyn Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers, and the New York Yankees. We welcome in pitching great Fred Kipp. Fred, honor to have you. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
So, Fred, you got a chance to be part of those organizations, the Dodgers and the New York Yankees. How lucky of a man you feel that you were part of those two, well-known franchises?
Well, I don't know. I think they probably won about the two of them, 8 out of 10 years, they won the pennant and the World Series.
I was going to say, absolutely. I mean, the Brooklyn Dodgers, I grew up in Brooklyn. I mean, they're such a part, of the borough. Did you enjoy playing in Brooklyn, Fred?
Yeah, it was. I didn't play there much. I was up there at the end of 56, start of 57, and the end of 57. That's the only time I spent up there, probably, 30 or 40 days total. But I got in at the tail end of the great Brooklyn team. They had, I think 8 All-Stars on that team. Campanella, Hodges, Newcomb, Pee Wee, Snyder, Ferrillo, that bunch.
Yeah, and now how was your teammate Sandy Koufax? Did you get along with Sandy Koufax?
Oh yeah, he had been there. He was a bonus. He got over 100,000 to sign. He had to stay with the club. He was there, I think, from about 53 on or something like that, where he didn't get to play, but they had to keep him on the roster. He pitched real good in 58, our first year out there, and he sprained his ankle about August, and he wasn't any good the rest of the year. And then starting 59, I don't think anybody hit him for about 10 years.
Yeah, I know. And, the Dodgers, late 50s, they didn't really have many left-handed pitchers. Drysdale was a right-hander, Don Newcomb was a right-hander. But you and Koufax were left-handers, right?
Well, Padres was there. He had some service time right there at the end of Brooklyn, but he won the big World Series game, the first World Series the Dodgers had ever won. Padres pitched that last game. He was left-handed.
Right, the great Johnny Padres, right. So looking at your minor league career, 1953, you're playing for the Miami Sun Sox in Class B ball. How did they hear about Fred Kipp?
Well, I didn't stay in Miami very long. I stayed there about 30 days and went up to Asheville, and in Class, they were both Class B minor league ball. I went 15-5 in there, and then I got drafted in the service. But how the Dodgers have a scout that covers about 10 states. Burt Wells, he'd been there for years, and the Washburn basketball coach and baseball coach, I played again. I went to Emporia State, and I played against him, and he was the guy that set me up to go to spring training in 53 for a tryout.
And that was with the Miami. Now, was that in Vero Beach, right?
Yeah, the Dodger organization, everybody trained at Vero Beach, and all the minor leagues were there. I rode the train 40 hours from Emporia down to Vero Beach, all 40 hours to get down to Vero Beach. I tried out, signed a contract, rode the train back to school, and finished college, and then joined Miami in after school was out in May sometime. Then I transferred up to Asheville, North Carolina.
And Fred, speaking about Asheville, that was around 53, the Asheville Tourists. I know the manager, Ray Hathaway. How did you get along with Ray Hathaway?
Oh, I didn't have any problem with. I never had any problem with any manager. I tried to do my job and kept my mouth shut.
And also on that team, another major league player was on the Asheville Tourists, Joe Pignatano.
Yeah, he did. He caught all the games down there, and yeah, I played with Joe 5 or 6 seasons throughout my career.
And then, that was 53. And then fast forward a little bit to 55. I believe you're playing for Mobile in the AA League. Manager Clay Bryant, I believe, was in charge of the team. How did you get along with Clay Bryant? Did you like playing for Mobile?
Yeah, it was fun. I got there late. It's kind of an interesting. I got out of the Army in July. I got out in 21 months to go to school. I went to school in Colorado, and I played for Goodland, Kansas, while I was there for about 30 days. Billy Martin managed the Goodland team. He was stationed in Colorado Springs in the Army. I played with him about 30 days, and then I joined Mobile. I think I went like 4-2 in Mobile, I believe, that year.
You did, and also that team. You had a good squad. You had, Jim Gentile was on the team, Don Demeter, Rudy Roofer, Jim Baxis. It was a good, solid team, Mobile.
Well, we had at the end we made the playoffs the last day, and won the playoffs, and played Shreveport in the Dixie series and beat them 4 straight. 4 out of 7, we beat them 4 straight. In the Dixie series. So at the end of the year, we had a really good ball club.
You did have a good ball club. And then in 1956 for the Montreal Royals, that was the AAA organization. And Sparky Anderson was one of your teammates, right?
Yeah, he played second base.
And Chico Fernandez was another one.
Yeah, he played shortstop. We had, I'm trying to think, Ronning and I believe
John Roseborough.
Yeah, Roseborough did most of the catching there. That was kind of his first year in higher minor league ball. He was a good athlete. He played a little football at I think Central Ohio or some Ohio school, smaller school. But he was the best at blocking home plate I'd ever seen.
Oh, no doubt about it. And also Dick Williams was also on that team, Glenn Mickens. So a lot of the, the famous Brooklyn names was on that squad.
Yeah. Williams wasn't there all year, but he came down a little while and I don't know, went back up. Could hit. He was a good hitter.
And Fred, I have a picture of you during the 56 Dodgers Goodwill Tour of Japan, and it pictures yourself, Gil Hodges, and Pee Wee Reese. What can you remember most about that Dodgers Goodwill Tour of Japan in 56?
Well, I got to go over there with him. What do you call it? I pitched more than any other pitcher on the Dodger roster. They had just come through a tough pennant race, and most of the guys didn't want to play. Some of them didn't even go. But I pitched more than anybody over there and won quite a few games. But I was pitched to Campanella, and I think Herb Olson went over as a backup catcher.
And how about playing with Jackie Robinson, Fred?
Yeah, of course I got in on the tail end of that, those good ball players. Robinson was there, and
he was there. I think play. 56.
He was an excellent. He was just a great athlete. His reaction time to something is probably way better than most of us.
We're talking with the former Dodger and Yankee pitcher Fred Kipp, who's on the telephone line with us. Fred, there's a book out. It's called The Last Yankee Dodger, Fred Kipp from Brooklyn to L.A. and the Bronx. Talk a little bit about how that project came about.
Well, my son pretty much wrote the book. He lives in Santa Barbara, incidentally. He went to he has a master's degree from Cal Poly, and he retired pretty young. He decided he wanted to write a book about me, and he'd do a chapter and send it to me, and I'd massage it a little bit and send it back. But that's how the book was written. He pretty well took care of it out there.
And, yeah, I want to mention to everyone listening to the program that that book can be purchased directly from yourself. People can get an autographed copy, right? They can get an autographed copy of the book if they send $30 to you, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so for everyone listening to the program, I do want to get this in. So you can obtain this copy of Fred's book if you send $30 to Fred Kipp, and the address is 6613 West 126th Terrace, Overland Park, Kansas, 66209. And $30 will get you The Last Yankee Dodger, Fred Kipp from Brooklyn to L.A. and the Bronx. It'll get you that book autographed personally by Fred Kipp if you send $30 to the address. We'll repeat the address one more time. Fred Kipp, 6613 West 126th Terrace, Overland Park, Kansas, 66209. So Fred, that book tells you a little bit about your history in baseball during the golden era of baseball, which you were you were part of, right?
That's correct. I got to play on 3 continents with and against the best, and I played with all those old great players in the 50s with the Dodgers, and I moved over to the Yankees. Mantle and Maris was over there, Yogi. So I got to play some pretty good ball players.
Now, did you ever pitch to Mickey Mantle?
Mm-hmm. I pitched against him, I think, in spring training once. But I played with him, of course, with the Yankees.
Right. So so let me ask you 2 questions on that. So pitching to Mantle, if you recall, how would you approach someone like Mantle? Did he fear you when you were on the mound?
I doubt if he feared very many people. he was another great athlete. Switch hit with power, hit the ball further than anybody just about, and he was just a good athlete. So all you could do is change speeds and the location in the strike zone. Hopefully, you could get him out.
And then I once heard you say in an interview that you pitched against Stan Musial. Stan Musial went 4 for 4 against you, but you beat the Cardinals. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, I'd take that deal every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I got the win.
Pitching against Stan Musial, that's something.
I think Stan Musial hit about 800 against me.
Really, that much? Was there any batter that you had trouble pitching to?
Well, he hit for a percentage. You could fool him, and he still could get the fat of the bat on the ball and hit it sharp somewhere. Hit between the infielders, right over them, or and of course, if he opened his hips up and swung that bat, he could hit home runs too. In case you don't know it.
That's amazing. So really, Fred Kipp, you were a country boy who pitched in the largest cities in America. How did you enjoy pitching more in L.A. or New York?
I'd say L.A. Well, I spent more time there and got to know more people, and we didn't have a real good ball club in '59. I was part of that at the start and the finish. Wasn't there very long, but we didn't have both teams I played with the Dodgers. '56 team was good. The '57 wasn't very good. '58 wasn't very good, and so I remember Snyder played in '58. He had a bad knee. When he played, he was something else. The big debate in New York was always who was the best, Mantle, Mays, or Maris. And I didn't mean Mantle, Mays, and who am I missing?
Yes, Snyder.
Snyder. Those three are the big debate. Who was the best? And, they all could just seem like they come up with somebody on all the time. They just drive the ball somewhere, those guys would.
Yeah, and you played with two of those players in Mantle and Snyder. What would you say was the difference between Snyder and Mantle? Do you think Snyder can hold his own against Mantle?
Well, I switch hitting. I remember Rube Walker saying the Dodgers had all those good right-hand hitters, Campanella, Hodges, Pee Wee, Ferrello, Robinson. Snyder didn't have to face left-handers because they never got down to him that much because those right-handers kind of took care of him.
Yeah, and speaking about '58, Fred, that's really the year that you became the regular pitcher for the Dodgers, right? That was the first year you became the Dodgers' regular pitcher in '58.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got your first win against the Cardinals. We just spoke about that. Musial going 4 for 4, but you won the game. Now you also pitched. You also pitched against greats like Juan Marichal. How is going against like Juan Marichal?
He was pretty young. I played with him 3 seasons in the Dominican Republic. I remember he was about 16. He didn't know how to stand on the mound. He played 1 year of Class D ball. He come back and started our season in Dominican Republic that year. He was just a great talent. I don't remember pitching against him much. Of course, I played with the Alou boys down there too. We were all on the same team: Murray Child, the Alous, myself, Ozzie Virgil. We had a great team down there.
Man, you were there. You were there with all the legends. We can even say you're a legend yourself. You're the last player, standing as a Dodger and Yankee. You were there, right there with all the legends. Now, an interesting footnote, people may not know, when Roger Maris joined the team, the Yankee team, it was the same year that you joined the team, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I got a picture of I think there's 5 of us. Elmer Vallow and DeMaestri came from Kansas City, and I think Hadley came, and myself, and of course Maris. We were all new on the Yankees that year.
And how was getting along? Did you get along with Maris and Yogi Berra? How are those teammates compared to the Dodger teammates?
Well, I wasn't there that long, but
you weren't there that long, right?
It wasn't any problem getting along with them. You played ball and that was it. I didn't socialize with them. I was single at the time. Those guys had their families. It was a different lifestyle for them and me. But as far as getting along, playing with them, that wasn't any problem. Those guys were outstanding athletes and players.
Now, how did the Yankees get you from the Dodgers? How were you informed about that move?
They traded, I think, Gordy Winhorn and Dick Sanders from Wichita, kind of around where I come from, was traded. The Yankees send them over to the Dodgers, and I went over to the Yankees. I think at the time they tried to fill the gap. I think Bobby Shantz was having a little problem right about then. They was looking for a left-hander in relief.
Yeah, and then so 1960. Now that was your final year. Now you also became a relieving ace during the 1960 season in Richmond, and you pitched like 47 games in 1960, 50 games in 61. Did you enjoy pitching for Richmond?
Yeah, I was there. Well, counting the 60 season, I was there 3 seasons, but I had a really good year. I was the closer, and that year in 60, and I got to pitch a lot. We had a pretty good ball club, but wasn't great, but was pretty good.
You did have a good year, and then the winter of 61, I believe, you stayed in Kansas City, and then and that's when you married, right? That's what your bio says.
Yeah. I didn't go to winter ball in 60. I stayed in Kansas City, and I met my wife, and we got married. And the next year I went, got married and went to Puerto Rico to play. The manager managed Richmond. I can't put a name on him right now. He managed the team down in Ponce, Puerto Rico. I went down there and pitched for him that winter.
And then, what was the decision for you to call it quits in baseball? You just got tired of it. You wanted to pursue other interests.
Well, I had a couple of pretty good years in Richmond, and nobody was picking me up. And I had my college degree, and got married and started raising a family and went to work.
So after you
took the sweat socks off and went to work. Go ahead.
So after your baseball years, you went right to work?
Yeah.
What did you do? Construction.
And what did you do?
I joined Employers of Wausau. They sold casualty as a direct writer, sold casualty insurance for Employers of Wausau. And I stayed there about a year and a half or 2 years, and I went to work for a construction operation.
Yes, for 50 years.
And I spent 50 years in construction.
Wow. So when you retire from baseball, was there ever a thought in your mind, geez, I missed the game, I wish, I got to get back there. Was there ever that thought?
Not too much, no. I could have played a couple more years, probably somewhere, I don't know where, and but no, I just made up my mind to quit and get a job and go to work.
And Fred, with the sports card and memorabilia business is such a big business, I would guess that you still get fan mail from your fans asking for your autograph.
Oh yeah, I get bubblegum cards, what have you. I get about 2 a week to sign. I can't imagine how many the Hall of Fame guys get. They must get hundreds of those a month to sign.
But I mean, do you still enjoy signing the autographs?
Oh, I sign them. I always sign them and send them back. Particularly if they send a shop address stamped envelope, I send them back, and I usually put a flyer in for my book and sell my book that way too.
Yeah, and I have like 2 minutes left, so I want to get that in again. So yes, the book, the Last Yankee Dodger, Fred Kipp from Brooklyn to L.A. and the Bronx. It's a book, Fred Kipp's life. It's out now. If you send $30 to Fred Kipp, 6613 West 126 Terrace, Overland Park, Kansas, 66209. $30 will get you a autographed copy of Fred Kipp's book. He'll personally sign it, send it to you in the mail, and yeah, you will have a collector's item. So, Fred, final words. Do you still watch baseball? Do you still follow the games?
Oh yeah, I watch them. I don't sit and watch game after game, but when they're on. I tune them in and watch them for a while. It's a different game, like all sports. The athletes are bigger, faster, and stronger.
Do you think that those old players of the old timers of the 50s and 60s would be able to compete with the players of today?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, they were good athletes at the time. But what sport hasn't improved?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, listen, Fred, it's an honor to speak to you. I appreciate it, and yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Okay, appreciate your time.
Thanks so much,
Brian.
Oh, hi, Lorraine.
Hi. Before we hang up, if someone does want a book, besides including the $30, have them include a piece of paper with whose name they want in the book. Like, is it to John, and then Fred writes, and just signs his name? Or a lot of people want, I hope you enjoyed reading this as much as my son Scott and I enjoyed writing it.
Definitely. So yeah, we'll definitely make note of that. And yeah, did you want to add any final words, Lorraine?
1 minute. I have 1 minute. Okay. Great Christmas gift for that person that's saying, I don't know what to get that 15-year-old. Well, if they like baseball at all, these make great gifts. And thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Lorraine.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Fred Kipp, last standing player of the Dodgers and Yankees. Pick up your copy now. It's a collector's item and a historic signature. Until next week, happy collecting to all.